Don't forget to like, subscribe and share the videos.
So this question was asked in 2018. It's a 15-mark question. It is one of the simplest question. First, how has the emphasis on certain crops brought about changes in the cropping pattern in recent past? So first is about how. Next, elaborate the emphasis on millet production and consumption. Then it is elaborate. So this is the two things in this question. So first is simply is about the how. Next is elaborate. And also what this question is actually mean is how has the emphasis on certain crops brought about the changes in the cropping pattern in the recent past. So which means we gave more emphasis to certain crops that leads to the changes in our cropping pattern. So which means there is certain reasons why we focused on the certain crops. That is also you have to address it. And also what are the crops we gave more emphasis. How that leads to the changes in our cropping pattern. That is the question is asking. Next question is elaborate the emphasis on the millet production and the consumption. So when it comes to these kinds of question means, so first question is speaking some other things, second question is speaking some other thing, but there is certain connect between both the things. You have to find it. So the connect is about the changes in the cropping pattern. So your intro can be like what is cropping pattern. Simply you can say that what is cropping pattern. Intro. What is cropping pattern? That itself a intro. Or else you can say about the millet. So there is a huge demand for the millet production in India. That is leads to the changes in the cropping pattern. Which means we are now cultivator of the wheat and rice. So there is a change towards the production of the millets. That is also you can say in the intro itself. Okay, because the question is majorly focused about the cropping pattern and also changes in the cropping pattern. So you have to address that thing as the intro. Next, you have to address this question. How has the emphasis on the certain crop brought about the changes in the cropping pattern in the recent past? Which means earlier we was in certain cropping pattern, now we are in a certain cropping pattern, in future we will change us to certain cropping pattern. So that is the thing you have to address it. So earlier we were the cultivator of the rice, wheat, millets, pulses, etc. Now we are a cultivator of all these things, but we give more emphasis to the rice and wheat. The reason is Green Revolution. Because the Green Revolution give more focus towards this rice and wheat. Because that is the staple food of India. When it comes to North India, it's wheat. When it comes to Southern India, it is about this rice. So that leads to the growth of this Green Revolution, and it is mainly focused on these things. And also, next major impact creator is this MSP. This MSP also being the major impact creator for this changing cropping pattern and diverted towards only rice and wheat is this MSP. Because even though the government is giving MSP for 22 crops in which there are pulses and millets, still the procurement is majorly done only to this rice and wheat. So that led to the demand for the cultivation of these products, rice and wheat. So the farmer mainly focus on cultivating these things. So that leads to the changes in the cropping pattern, and they are mainly related to this rice and wheat. Okay, so based on the Green Revolution, based on the MSB, or else you can easily say about the consumption pattern of the people. That is also the thing. So all these things leads to the change in cropping patterns related to this, towards focusing towards the rice and wheat. Next, in present day, still there is a changes in the cropping pattern, which is now focusing on the millets. So millet is taking the center stage, and it is pushing this rice and wheat to its periphery. The reason is based on the changes in the dietary pattern of the people, based on the health. People are becoming more health conscious, and also there is a huge issue of diabetes, obesity, and also nutrition-less foods. When it comes to the rice, it is more of carbs, but when it comes to millets, it provides you the fiber content, it provides you the nutrient content, proteins, everything is provided through this millet. So people are becoming more focused on consuming this millet based on the health consciousness. So that led to the changing in the cropping pattern towards this millet. It is in present day it is happening, but still rice and wheat is dominant player in this cropping pattern, but now it is shifting towards a millet. That is happening. So that is the question is asking. How has the emphasis on certain crops brought about the changes in the cropping pattern in recent past? So you have to say all this thing. By the way, only you can address this first part of the question. Next, second part of the question. Elaborate the emphasis on the millet production and the consumption. So when it comes to the millet production, you have to say that you have to give the intro about the millet. You can speak about the International Year of Millet 2023. They declared 2023 as the International Year of Millet to showcase that the millet is the future crop, because when it comes to the millet, it have the large advantages. First thing is it is a climate resilient. It can overcome the issue of the flood and drought. It can survive on both the things. Next, it is a short-term crop. Within 65 days, you can harvest it. Third, it have the high nutritional value. And also, next is water use efficiency is high. Water use efficiency is also high for this millet, and also it need limited water. It can survive in the vast range of climate, vast range of weather patterns. So these are the major benefits when it comes to the millet. So in future, actually the climate change is happening, the global warming is happening. So in this scenario, in future you may face certain issues to cultivate the rice and wheat. But when it comes to the millet, it can survive. It can be survive in any vast climate, any worst climate it can survive. So in that scenario, millet is becoming as a future crop. So only they declare International Year of Millets 2023. Okay. So you have to say all that thing. Elaborate the emphasis on the millet production and the consumption. You have to give the certain things like in India, 21 states are cultivating millets, and also around 30 million hectares of land under millet cultivation. So these are certain examples you have to quote for the elaboration of this emphasis on the millet production and the consumption. There is a change in dietary pattern, and there is a issue of this diabetes and the obesity issue. For that things, the people are changing it to changing their dietary pattern towards millet. So that is the answer you have to give it. So it is one of the easiest question, but you have to address it with certain data. Without a data, if you are giving the answer, means you won't get any maximum mark. That is the major issue with this question. Okay, thank you.